तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमुदाततं भुवि वदन्ति भूरिराजन्. Your words are like nectar, bring life to scorched souls. They are praised by poets and remove all sin. They are auspicious to hear, wonderful and exalted. Those who spread these words throughout the world are truly giving souls. Welcome to our class on the Gospel of Ramakrishna. We are on the chapter, the Master's birthday. The date is Wednesday, February 25th, 1885, and we're on page 703 in the middle of the page. Yes, Sri Ramakrishna had gone to the house of Girish Ghosh, and they were going to see the play at the Star Theatre. It was not yet dusk. Sri Ramakrishna was talking to Atul, who was seated in front of him. Atul was Girish's brother and a lawyer of the High Court of Calcutta. A Brahmin neighbor was also seated near him. Master to Atul. All I want to tell you is this: follow both. Perform your duties in the world and also cultivate love of God. This was generally the teaching that Sri Ramakrishna gave to his householder disciples. He would tell them, hold on to God with one hand and the world with the other hand until you can reach the point where you can hold on to God with both hands, when the duties become less. Brahmin. Can anyone but a Brahmin achieve perfection? Now, this goes back to the orthodox belief that only the Brahmins have access to Shruti, that they're the ones who are allowed to take sannyasa. There are many restrictions among the very, very orthodox. And from the Upanishadic period, the idea was that one had to hear the Mahavakya, usually Tattvamasi, from the lips of the Guru in order to be able to have the highest realization. That was restricted to Brahmin boys at that time. And then, of course, if not then, later in life, they were supposed to take the sannyasa. And so there was this belief. It's not that this Brahmin is considering himself better than anybody else. Perhaps he knows that this is one idea that is held among the very orthodox people. Of course, now not so much, but at one time, partly because of restrictions of what they had access to, and that is the teachings of the Vedic teachings and the Upanishadic teachings. Master, why should you ask that? It is said that in the Kali Yuga, the Shudras achieve love of God. There are the instances of Shabari, Ruhidas, the untouchable, Guhaka, and others. So this orthodox belief was countered by the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. The Gita was meant for householders and non-Brahmins, especially those who had no access to Shruti. The belief was that they had access to the highest teachings. And in there, Sri Krishna will say that anybody following whatever path they have and by the performance of their duties can attain perfection and liberation. So this is, I won't say that it's a conundrum or anything, but we have one idea among the Orthodox from the old Vedic tradition and another idea that comes from the later tradition that is a much more liberal and open idea. And we all take the Gita to be almost equally authoritative as the Upanishads. Now, the Upanishads, they're only giving these highest teachings. They're not coming up with all of these restrictions. This will be more Manu and others. But if we hold the Gita to also be authoritative, and Gita, even at the end of each chapter, it's referred to as an Upanishad. So it's been raised almost to the level of the Upanishad. Then we find that only the very orthodox will still stick to that idea, and that for others, the question of liberation and the question of realization is simply one of knowledge or devotion, and not a question of caste or gender or anything like that. If we look at the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, even the ones he calls Ishwarakotis and everything, we'll find many non-Brahmins there, about half and half among his disciples. Oh, today is the birth anniversary of Swami Advaitananda. Narayan smiling. Narayan, a young boy. Brahmins and Shudras are all one. Brahmin. Can a man realize God in one birth? So he's not questioning this. It's not like he wanted to raise the issue that only Brahmins can achieve it or anything. He's just asking for Sri Ramakrishna's opinion. Can a man realize God in one birth? So this, I don't know what this means exactly. It, maybe in this very birth, or if he means the first human birth, it's not very clear. But I think he means in this very birth. Now, however many we've had is in this human body, we don't know. Can a man realize God in one birth, Master? Is anything impossible for the grace of God? Suppose you bring a light into a room that has been dark 1,000 years. Does it remove the darkness little by little? The room is lighted all at once. To Atul. Intense renunciation is what is needed. One should be like an unsheathed sword. When a man has that reputation, he looks on his relatives as black cobras and his home as a deep well. Sorry, when he has that renunciation, he looks on his relatives as black cobras and his home as a deep well. So there's several things here. This idea that everyone is entitled to follow any spiritual path. Sometimes we can say with a very orthodox idea is that this Jnana Yoga was more restricted. This question of adhikara, and some belief that the whole bhakti tradition, devotional tradition, was meant for those who wouldn't be follow this path of knowledge and may not have access to Vidya. So that was almost, as I said before, a householder and non-Brahmin type of tradition. Yeah. And this idea that can one get liberation all at once? As Ramakrishna talks about so many different types, what he calls siddhi, how we attain perfection, some hortat, all of a sudden, as if there's no preparation or anything. Then sadhana siddhi through long spiritual practice, and even swapna siddhi through a dream. So all in different ways. This idea of the light, when we turn on the switch, then there's no time gap. Automatically it happens. But it may take a long time to find the room and then to grope around in the dark and to find the switch. So we can't expect things to happen overnight. But the point is that when we reach that point of illumination, it'll be full illumination. So Thakur gives this illustration many times. Now he's stressing this idea of renunciation. So that means that we can have the half-hearted longing for God realization. It has to be all-consuming if we want to have that ultimate experience. We have to remember this is reserved for great saints. How many people have had the experience of God, real God realization? It's not going to happen just with some half-hearted attempt. And this intense renunciation to the point where the world is like a blazing forest fire, or the relatives are like black cobras. Now, this isn't something that uh, we want to try to cultivate uh, while we still have duties and things in the world. It's not possible. This is for those who really have that opportunity, and uh, this is just until that realization comes, and just during a certain period where we don't even want to see the face of anybody. After that, if we have that type of realization, then again that love for other people will come back. But there'll be a certain period of time when this longing to go into solitude, this longing to be free from all contact with other people, this longing to dive deep into spiritual life will be all consuming. So uh, when we talk about God realization here and now in this very lifetime, as opposed to the attainment of liberation in this one lifetime, they're two different things. Yeah. So this what we call Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. That if we want to simply put an end to this round of birth and death, if we want to attain that state of realization, we can do it. That's through our love and our devotion and some spiritual practice, of course, and faith and prayer and everything. And this grace at the end that'll come if we want to have the experience here and now. Then we have to pay the price. And very few of us uh, are able to. Not that we're not willing, we may be willing, but the mind has to cooperate. And we may not just, I mean, it's simply just we aren't at that stage in life where we can do it. And this renunciation that Thakur is talking about, this is also grace, and it's something which comes upon a person. We can try to cultivate it to a certain extent, but it'll automatically happen. And how it happens, sometimes people have to experience some tremendous tragedy in life. Sometimes, usually there are two things: either some great tragedy in life, or some real holy company. We meet a soul, a God realized soul, or somebody who's a very saintly type of person, and we feel that tremendous attraction, and very often a combination of the two. Yeah. Prarabdha karma, uh, of course, Thakur always says we have to have good samskaras for all of this. So what we've done in the past, previous lifetime, then of course, uh, that when we're born into this world, we don't come with an absolutely clean slate. We come with certain tendencies, good qualities, and everything. So the more sattvic we are because of the previous lifetime, then of course that'll be a tremendous aid to us. Uh, but how it works, we don't know. Is it possible for some they're born with not very good samskaras, but they have this holy company, they have some grace, something happens, and they become great saints. We don't know what lies behind. That's the whole thing. Yeah. Thakur gives that example that they see a man in the morning, they see him take one glass of wine, and he starts singing and dancing like a drunkard. And they ask, "How is it possible?" And somebody says, "Don't you know he's been drinking all night long?" Yeah. So we can't judge by just what we see. We see some people seem to make rapid progress in spiritual life, newcomers. See some people struggling their whole lifetime. We don't know, and we shouldn't bother too much. Whatever level we come in at, we can't change that. That's what we're born with, and that's the good qualities or bad qualities that they have. And then we start from that point A, and we do the best that we can from that point onward. This unsheathed sword that Swamiji used to talk about, Narendra, or the Swami Vivekananda, that he had that type of renunciation, that Thakur would see him, unsheathed sword, so just ready to slash, to cut this Maya. Huh? Yeah. One should pray to God with sincere longing. God cannot but listen to prayer if it is sincere. So everything goes back to this sincerity and longing. How much do we really want? How much? We look at examples like Mathur Babu and Nifrido and Hazrat, some others, that they were begging Sri Ramakrishna for some experience of God. But did they really want it? And were they ready for it? They would get it and they say, no, take it away. It's too much for me. So it's if we want to pray for that, we have to really pray that the mind is prepared for it. Pray that we'll be able to withstand the tremendous rush of emotion that comes with some type of genuine spiritual experience. And God cannot but listen to prayer if it is sincere. Yeah, we have to have that faith, and it comes from the belief that God dwells within, that every thought is heard by God. God is the Antaryaman. God is the witness of everything. That God is our constant companion, and that however we understand prayer, that it has a tremendous power to open up the heart. This intensity of prayer is much greater than the normal type of meditation that most of us do. The normal type of meditation, the mind, it's impossible for the mind to have that intensity and that focus for a long period of time, but we can do it a very short period of time with prayer. And so this is why Thakur talks about the importance of prayer. Pray with tears in your eyes. Pray with tremendous longing, that like the child who's missing the mother, that type of longing. He gives us so many other examples. All sat in silence, pondering Sri Ramakrishna's words. Master to Atul. This Atul was very sincere. I don't know much about him. Girish's brother, but Thakur liked him very much, and he shows up very often and asks very nice questions. He seems to be a very solid person. Master to Atul, what is worrying you? Is it that you haven't that grit, that intense restlessness for God? Yeah. So sometimes Thakur would say, yeah, that's the thing. We need that intense restlessness, vyakulata. This vyakulata, even that, we have to be very cautious that do we want to pray for that type of longing for God? Who is willing? Who is willing to feel their heart being wrung like a wet cloth is being wrung? Huh? Who really wants that such anguish of heart that they're ready to take a knife to their throat? We have to realize how special these things are. But this ordinary longing, that has to be there, and it'll grow. It'll grow. So we have two directions that we see. Either this intensity of longing, this vyakulata, this becomes greater and greater, or this feeling of sharanagati, the surrender. Mother, do with me whatever you like. Wherever you put me, I'll be happy. That idea. Both are tremendously effective and helpful. So he asked that to Atul, and Atul doesn't really give an answer. We know, of course, that he doesn't have that type of bad restlessness, that type of intensity and restlessness for God. We see only in those really great souls who have some type of realization. Sri Ramakrishna himself, of course, no one can touch that intensity. And Swamiji, how with tears in his eyes he would run. He's doing the study for the law exams, and how he just wants to throw everything away and run away, and goes to Sri Ramakrishna with that type of longing. So we see it in the direct disciples, of course. Then Atul raises a different question. How can we keep our minds on God? So this is our problem. Either at the time of meditation, the mind is restless, or during the day, we simply forget. So how do we keep our minds on God? Master, Abhyasa Yoga, the yoga of practice. So this we always have this Abhyasa and Vairagya together. So this desire to keep the mind fixed on God and to constantly monitor the mind, remind ourselves when the mind strays, it goes in a different direction, to bring it back. This is Abhyasa. It has a special meaning at the time of meditation, that as quickly as possible, we catch the mind from wandering and we bring it back and try to fix the mind on the object of our meditation. This is Abhyasa. So most of our meditation is this practice of Abhyasa Yoga, where we're trying to attain to some state of fixity, of concentration. That real meditation may happen during our period of meditation. We may get little periods of that, where we feel some easy flow of thought, towards God. But every once in a while, some other thought will come from somewhere in the subconscious mind. These thoughts arise, and the problem is for most people that we don't catch it in the beginning, and it starts to run away with the mind, and one thing leads to another and to another. This is called sankalpa. That and because there's always some desire, every thought that comes to the mind has some desire behind it, some vasana, and what we're trying to do in meditation is monitor the mind, be aware, so that very quickly we can cut it off, and not let it gain momentum. These ideas gain momentum within the mind, and we enjoy them. This is the problem. We won't think of these things unless there's some type of enjoyment that comes. So even things that seem very odd, we remember some bad experience we had, or something that brings some anger to the mind, and the mind remains angry at the time of meditation, and there's some enjoyment to that. It's fulfilling some type of desire, some feeling of self-righteousness, something, some ego sense, something is there. So anyhow, this Abhyasa Yoga is using the power of the mind. Now, Sri Ramakrishna always adds to that if the problem is these things that arise out of some desire, then we have to practice renunciation, vairagya. And then he'll add that, but simply this vairagya will not be enough. We have to have love for the ideal. We have to increase that love for the ideal so that automatically the mind will go there. Anuraga. So if we analyze the mind, observe the mind, we see that it'll run towards the things that it likes. So what we want to do, if there's something that we want to fix the mind on, we have to teach the mind to like it. We have to develop a taste for it. So we do this through different types of spiritual practice, through holy company, through pilgrimage, through our spiritual reading. In our tradition, of course, the more we feel Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother, the more we feel their presence, living presence. Even today, this very moment, feel their living presence within the heart. And that longing to be in their presence, then it becomes easier. It never becomes fully easy until the mind switches to a different level. in meditation, for example, trying to picture the image of the Ishtadevata. So we're trying to meditate on Sri Ramakrishna. We're trying to picture that image, his face, full body, whatever it is, that we find that the mind just can get a little glimpse, a little feeling that we're seeing it or something, but the mind can go to a different level where it becomes living and alive and we can see it. The ordinary mind will have trouble reaching that level. But the stage can come in meditation where things start to feel a little smooth flow of things. That means we've gone from just this dharana to dhyana, this from concentration to that type of meditation. So the other idea of Abhyasa Yoga is not simply at the time of meditation, but just to have a whole routine of spiritual life, to do our japa every day, to do some puja, whatever it is that we do, to have that routine and keep that fixed uh, spiritual practice. So Thakur says, the question, how can we keep our minds on God? Abhyasa Yoga, the yoga of practice. You should practice calling on God every day. So part of that practice is prayer. It's just in prayer with and the sincerity. The sincerity, Thakur, uh, he emphasizes that so much that that's really the main thing. If we have sincerity, we don't have to worry about anything else. Are we reciting these prayers properly? Do we know Sanskrit? Do we know all the rituals and everything? If we don't know any of these things, but we have that sincerity, that removes all the other problems that we have. The sincerity is the most important thing. Whatever we do, we should do it. Really try to be sincere in what we do. You should practice calling on God every day. It is not possible to succeed in one day. So the question earlier was, can we do it in this one birth? Now he's saying in one day. That means we have to understand that it's a long process. We have to understand that if we don't strike gold the first time we dig, we have to keep digging. It is not possible to succeed in one day. Through daily prayer, you will come to long for God. So this prayer, we do this prayer with longing for God, but it increases longing for God. Thakur has asked many times, what is the purpose? What do we gain through spiritual practice? What do we gain through holy company? What do we gain through prayer? Many times he's asked this, and very often the answer is that this longing for God will grow. Vakulata. See, if we have holy company, then we see someone, how much joy they have in their lives because of this, and how much peace and calmness and love they have for other people. We have to observe that, and we have to feel that how wonderful it would be if we could have that. So because of that, this longing will come, that we want to be like that. Yeah, a perfect example is the life of Buddha, that his 4 trips outside of the palace, he sees an old person, a sick person, a dead person, and then he sees a young monk, face beaming with joy, not looking here or there, walking straight ahead. And so the renunciation comes from the others. So this is what life is like. And then this longing comes, he sees this monk and says, yes, I want to become like that. So we need these things together. Yeah. This renunciation and this longing, and everything comes through this practice. Have a routine in spiritual life. That stick to it as far as possible. How can you feel that restlessness if you were immersed in worldliness day and night? Formerly, Jadu Malik enjoyed spiritual talk. Jadu Malik, he was a very, very wealthy person, a businessman, always buying and selling and land deals, real estate and everything, and took great joy and liked to keep his other businessmen around and liked to keep flatterers around. Thakur liked him, though. He had a garden house right near the temple, Dakshineshwar temple. Thakur would go visit him. His mother was a great devotee, and so he always mentions this in Jadu Malik. He gives him as the example for many things. Also, you want to know about God, first meet Jadu Malik, and he'll tell you how many properties he owns, how many papers, company things, this and that. So first realize God, then ask these other questions. So he talks about Jadu Malik that way. Formerly, Jadu Malik enjoyed spiritual talk. He liked to engage in it himself, but nowadays he doesn't show that much interest. He surrounds himself with flatterers day and night and indulges in worldly talk. It was dusk. The lamp was lighted in the room. Sri Ramakrishna chanted the divine names. He was singing and praying. He said, chant the name of Hari, repeat the name of Hari, sing the name of Hari. Again, he said, Rama, Rama, Rama. Then, O mother, thou dost ever enjoy thine eternal sports. Tell us, O mother, what is the way? We have taken refuge in thee. We have taken shelter at thy feet. Yeah, Thakur, he would go into this ecstatic mood where he would be talking to the Divine Mother. At the same time, he's teaching us how to pray to God. Normally, if any one of us will start praying to God aloud in the presence of other people, we'll say, what kind of fool is he? These things are to be done in private. This prayer is between oneself and God and not for other people to hear. Thakur's case is 100% different. Yeah, we can't compare it. That otherwise, how do we learn how to call on God with that type of longing? So, not that he plans it ahead of time, but it's also not that he doesn't realize what he's doing. So it's kind of a teaching technique, but it's not the pre-planned thing. It automatically happens. He would probably explain it that Mother wants everyone to know what real prayer is like. Finding Girish restless, Sri Ramakrishna remained silent a moment. He asked Tej Chandra to sit near him. The boy sat near the master. He whispered to M that he would have to leave soon. He was one of the students, I think, of him. Huh? And Thakur was very fond of these young boys. They're very innocent at that age. Master to M. What did he say? M. He said he would have to go home. Yeah, their parents were never happy that they were going to see Sri Ramakrishna. There's always the fear that they'll run away from home, become a sadhu or something. Or that Thakur is a madman, that they're being led astray and everything. Master, why do I attract these boys to me so much? They are pure vessels, untouched by worldliness. So it's both ways. He's attracted to them and they're attracted to him. He loved the company of these very pure souls that he could feel, because he felt that this purity and guilelessness, these were two of the great prerequisites for spiritual experience, for spiritual growth. Why do I attract these boys to me so much? They are pure vessels, untouched by worldliness. A man cannot assimilate instruction if his mind is stained with worldliness. So we hear these things, but how much will they sink in? How much of an impression will it make? Can we dye a cloth that's filthy? We may put it in the dye, the liquid, in the vat of liquid, but if it's full of stains, it won't take the dye. So we have to make sure that there's some attempt to lead a very pure type of life. Milk can be safely kept in a new pot, but it turns sour if kept in a pot in which curd has been made. You may wash 1,000 times a cup that has held a solution of garlic, but still you cannot remove the smell. Now, Thakur made this remark with regard to Girish, and I got back to Girish. This becomes this very small little theme that runs through here. That is it possible to ever get rid of that smell? What it means is that if we've led a very impure type of life, that a little bit of samskara will be there, will remain. It may not be such a horrible thing. So Sri Ramakrishna, uh, probably to warn Narendra a little bit. Narendra was spending a lot of time with Girish. Did Thakur like it? Because he'll ask, do you still go there? Do you go to Girish's place? Was Thakur happy that Swamiji went to spend so much time with Girish? I think yes and no. That part of it is that he was a very worldly man. He had his life was a wild type of life. We know that. So Thakur would warn Narendra a little bit about that, but he had so much burning faith that Thakur was an avatar that part he liked, I think. So it seems like he had somewhat mixed emotions about that. Because he never warned him. He would ask, "Would you still go there?" He would never warn him, "No, don't go there." But at the same time, that he would give this illustration, a little bit of that smell of garlic will remain. So this is all before going to the Star Theater. There's no conversation in his room, and then most of them will go together, not all of them, but Sri Ramakrishna arrived at the Star Theater on Meaden Street to see a performance of Vrishiketu. He sat in, this is Vrishiketu is the son of Karna, a hero of the Mahabharata, who was celebrated alike for charity and heroism. Karna sacrificed his son to fulfill a promise. I don't know any of these things. Probably he had a son. We hope so. So Sri Ramakrishna went to see the performance with Ishiketu. He sat in a box facing the south. M and other devotees were near him. Master to M. Has Narendra come? That'll be the first thing he wants to know. He's happy when the others come, but if Narendra comes, he's ecstatic. M. Yes, sir. So how could they all afford these things? Maybe Girish invited them, just to come. Thakur, of course, won't have to pay. The performance began. Karna and his wife, Padmavati, sacrificed their son to please God, who had come to them in the guise of a Brahmin. So he was married, Padmavati, in the guise of a Brahmin to test Karna's charity. We have the same story. Huh? What was the other one with Rohitashvara and to test Karna's charity. During this scene, one of the devotees gave a suppressed sigh. Sri Ramakrishna also expressed his sorrow. After the play, Sri Ramakrishna went to the recreation room of the theater. Girish and Narendra were already there. The master stood near Narendra and said, I have come. That means that he's in, again, some ecstatic type of mood. What does he mean? Sometimes he said, I've come. Why did you take so long to come? That means I've taken human birth this time. I've been waiting for you as my companion. Sri Ramakrishna took a seat. The orchestra was playing in the auditorium. Master to the devotees. I feel happy listening to the concert. The musicians used to play on the Shanai at Dakshineshwar, and I would go into ecstasy. Noticing this, a certain sadhu said, this is a sign of the knowledge of Brahman. This Shanai, it has this beautiful piercing type of sound, and is always connected with this temple worship that they play from the Nahabat, and it really, I also love this Shanai. We don't hear it very much. We don't have too many musicians who come. We've never had a Shanai concert here. We were reading the other day that very often they come from the Weaver caste or other caste. It's a little bit different from the other types of musicians and things. The orchestra stopped playing and Sri Ramakrishna began the conversation. Master to Girish, does this theater belong to you? Girish, it is ours, sir. Yeah, I think he bought it. Huh? He owned that theater. There were a couple of different things, and this also changed names a few times. It is ours, sir, master. Ours is good. It is not good to say mine. People say I and mine. They are egotistic, small-minded people. Now, the exception is in spiritual life, Thakur said, this I and mine are very helpful. This I is the I of a devotee or child. And this mine is God belongs to me. He's Rama. That or I belong to him, he belongs to me, that idea. Narendra, the whole world is a theater. Yeah, this, of course, was Shakespeare's famous line. Huh? And we're all actors on the stage. Master, yes, yes, that's right. In some places, you see the play of Vidya, and in some, the play of Avidya. So the play of Vidya, knowledge. Play of Vidya, ignorance. So what does it mean exactly that this truth will manifest itself, this sattva will manifest itself in some places, in other places it's covered over with his rajas and tamas. And there'll be things that are helpful in spiritual life, there'll be things that drag us down. So this type of idea, Narendra, everything is the play of Vidya. Now, is he contradicting Sri Ramakrishna? Not exactly, but expressing a slightly different type of idea. And this was Swamiji's attitude, especially later when uh, he becomes a real worshiper of Mother Kali. And no distinction between all the terrible things in this world and all the good things in this world is all equally manifestation of this power of Mother Kali. So he made that great statement to Sister Nivedita that learn to see the hand of God, the face of Mother, something like that, equally in what is beautiful as what is terrible. Uh, So it's but no distinction. Here, sometimes that we can say that all nice things are from God, bad things are from the devil. But everything from God, everything equally manifestation of that. So this probably is the point of view of Swamiji here. Everything is the play of Maya. And then Thakur will agree if you look at it from that point of view. It's all mother's play. There's Leela. Good things, bad things, everything. All part of that Leela. So Sri Ramakrishna says, true, true. But a man realizes that when he has knowledge of Brahman. But for a bhakta who follows the path of divine love, both exist, Vidya Maya and Avidya Maya. So that means that we have to be cautious. We have to learn to make a distinction of what is pure and holy and sattvic, and what can bring the mind down. We can say that you keep the company of good people or bad people. God dwells equally in all of them. So why not keep the company of bad people also? The Thakur told the story that of uh, the sadhu goes out and he says everything is Narayana and this mad elephant is coming, and the Mahut says get out of the way, get out of the way, and he says and he thinks, no, I've been told that God dwells, Narayana dwells within this elephant just as well. Why should I leave? And he gets thrown to the ground, and then later the Guru says, Mahut is also Narayana. Why didn't you listen to him? So that type of idea that we have to learn to make a distinction, that the manifestation will be different depending on this, whether it's sattvic or rajasic and tamasic. So part of this tantric tradition is to not make a distinction between pure and impure. But the devotee has to be very careful about this idea of knowing what is helpful in spiritual life, knowing what is pure, knowing what will drag us down, to have that distinction. Jnani can, from the very beginning, try to imprint on this mind all of this is equally Maya, that underlying everything is that one reality, that why makes this distinction that way. Please sing a little to Narendra. Narendra sang, upon the sea of blissful awareness, waves of ecstatic love arise. Rapture divine, play of God's bliss. Oh, how enthralling! Wondrous waves of the sweetness of God, ever new and ever enchanting, rise on the surface, ever assuming forms ever fresh. Then once more in the great communion all are merged as the barrier walls of time and space dissolve and vanish. Dance then, O mind, dance in delight with hands upraised, chanting Lord Hari's holy name. As Narendra sang the words, then once more in the great communion all are merged. As Sri Ramakrishna said to him, one realizes this after attaining the knowledge of Brahman. Then all is Vidya, Brahman, as you said. So even for the Jnani, some distinction is made between Sat and Asat in the beginning. Some distinction between real and unreal, permanent and transient, all of that. But at the end, everything's equally a manifestation of Brahman, or equally unreal for the Jnani, equally just a play of Maya.
But the life itself, is it the plane we are in? It is all a Vidya we are in, right?
If we understand this Vidya and Avidya, the way Sri Ramakrishna explains it, that this Avidya Maya, this power Shakti, Vidya Maya Shakti, Avidya Maya Shakti, that everything that can lift up the mind belongs to Vidya, Vidya Maya. So, holy company, prayer, all spiritual practices, all of that. It's not that everything is dragging us down. That there.
Form in time. It is all in Prakriti or in a way.
No. This is a distinction within Maya. Within Maya, there are things that can raise us up. You're saying that everything is equally a thorn. The one that's in your foot and the one that can remove it. Thakur is saying, no, they're both equally thorns, but you're going to say both are Maya and not take use of the second thorn. So within that, Maya simply means within this relative world. Within this relative world, there's good and there's bad. There are things that are helpful, things that will drag us down. There's holy company, there's bad company. We can't say that they're equally the same. We can say, from one point of view, yes, God dwells equally in the thief as in the saint, equally in the thief. But Thakur say manifestation is different, number one. And number two, God dwells within the tiger, but you don't embrace the tiger. And you don't say that with the saint, it's also part of my and false identification. I won't go near the saint. Then you're being foolish. So, if everything is a manifestation of Divine Mother, we can say everything a manifestation of Vidya. Here, as I say, Vidya means manifestation of Brahman. Is Vidya Brahman? He's identifying them. If you want to be very negative, you can say that I won't even open my eyes. Everything I see has the power to bring attachment. Then your eyes will be closed to all the positive things in life also. So we have to learn to make that distinction.
He did not want to come to the earth.
Yes.
14 years.
Yes. That's what they say with the Shukadeva. Yeah. But for Thakur, he didn't like that attitude. He said the ancient rishis. Shukadeva was different, but the ancient rishis said we're timid people. They were afraid of everything. They would leave the ashram early morning, not look one way or the other, afraid of attachment and everything. That we want to be bold people. Now, not foolish people. But if we want to say everything is Avidya Maya, then we'll lose out on holy company. We'll lose out on the pilgrimage, holy places, everything. We'll miss all of the things that can help us in spiritual life. So we have to learn to make that distinction. It's also the Shreyas Preyas distinction. What is enjoyable but can drag us down, and what will really be beneficial for us. So it's a very important distinction with other people, that some people that really bring the mind right down, very worldly type of people, and other people can help raise the mind. If we say all of it is avidya, then we won't avail ourselves of that holy company. As Narendra sang the line, dance in delight with hands upraised, chanting Lord Hari's holy name, the master said to him, sing that line twice. After the song, Sri Ramakrishna resumed the conversation. Girish, Devendra Babu hasn't come. I assume Majumdar. Huh? He was a great disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. Uh, his house is now a small ashram, right across from our Advaita Ashram Publishing Center. He wrote many beautiful hymns, songs to Sri Ramakrishna. Very good devotee. Devendra Babu hasn't come. He says in a mood, this is Girish talking, of wounded pride. We haven't any stuff inside us, no feeling of thickened milk. So sometimes Sri Ramakrishna would talk so much about the monastic life and would praise Narendra so much. Other people would think, well, who are we? Are we nobody? So we haven't, he says in a mood of wounded pride, Obhiman, we haven't any stuff inside us, no feeling of thickened milk. Yeah, Thakur says, seeing the type of sweet, huh? Like a crepe. You see it from the outside, you don't know what it's stuffed with. That's some very simple, yeah, karai dal or something. It's some is very sweet coconut milk things. No filling of thickened milk. We are filled only with worthless lentil paste. Why should we go there? So yeah, this is pride is a little wounded. He's this what they call Abhiman, master surprise. Does he say that? He never said so before. Sri Ramakrishna said many people would feel they would maybe a little humorously, but when Thakur only wants to feed Narendra, well, what about us? You know, we're also here. And Sri Ramakrishna took some refreshments and handed some to Narendra. Yeah. Jatin Deva to the master. You always say, Narendra, eat this, eat that, or the rest of us fools. Are we like straw washed ashore by the flood tide? So here he's not very seriously raising that issue, but yeah. Sri Ramakrishna loved Jatin dearly. Who is this Jatin? Does anybody know? They don't say anything in that Bhakti Porichoy about him. I don't know who he was. Jatin visited the master now and then at Dakshineshwar and occasionally spent the night there. He belonged to an aristocratic family of Shobha Bazar. So this is all we know of him. Whether he came again later, we don't know. The master said laughingly to Narendra, he is talking about you. So it becomes a little bit of a joke, but they're recognizing it at least. And Sri Ramakrishna laughed and showed his affection to Jatin by touching his chin. He said to Jatin, come to Dakshineshwar, I'll give you plenty to eat. The master went into the auditorium to see a farce. This was common there. We saw last time with Life of Prahlada that afterwards there was, what was it? Some Vivaho Vibrat, something like that. Yeah. So, Thakur didn't want to see. Here he goes to see this. Huh? Uh-huh. So this is the same one, the same farce. He sat in a box. He laughed at the conversation of the maidservant. After a while, he became absent-minded and whispered a few words to M. Yeah, the last time he told the Girish, why this dish of like shukto after the payas first. Master to M. Well, is what Girish Ghosh says true? Girish had lately been speaking of Sri Ramakrishna as an incarnation of God. See, Girish came to this conclusion quite early because he came late. And now he's probably only within a year known Sri Ramakrishna intimately. M. Yes, sir, it must be true. Otherwise, why should it appeal to our minds? Master, you see, a change is coming over me. The old mood has changed. I am not able to touch any metal now. So Sri Ramakrishna, he went through so many different phases in his life. The childhood, perfectly carefree, perfectly loving and sweet, liked to be with happy people, cheerful people. A few people recognized him as something very special. Uh, he led an idyllic type of life, and then father dies and has to go to the big city and has to worry about money and everything. And then he's put in charge of the Kali temple, and now this tremendous longing comes. So the Sadhaka period comes. And so he went through different periods. Uh, then later, uh, after Totapuri leaves, Mayanja is dwelling in the absolute almost day and night. And then the others come, and then there's longing for the devotees to come. And there's longing to give whatever he has. And in the meantime, this idea that comes with the Brahmani, that she's claiming that he's an avatar. So this idea starts to work in his own mind. And it also becomes a conviction with him at some point. How different stages, how it grows, and when it's a conviction, very hard to say. And from his childhood, did he have some intimation that he was born with a special mission in life? It's hard to say. So now he can't touch any metal. So uh, we know that gold in particular, Thakur associated with wealth and with greed and the attachment that comes from it. So metal also to a certain extent, we can say. And listen to these words and wonder, Master. There's a very deep meaning in this new mood. Was the Master hinting that a God man cannot bear any association with worldly treasure? So this happens just at a certain period. Now this is 1885. So within the last year, a little bit, year plus of his life, this happens, and we find him asking M, can he buy a type of bowl that's carved out of stone, the stone bowl, because he doesn't has trouble touching metal. Before that, he even had a gold amulet that he wore. He didn't have this problem. He couldn't touch money, but now it's extending here to the metal in general. Master to M. Well, do you notice any change in me? M. In what respect, sir? Master. In my activities. M. Your activities are increasing as more people come to know about you. Master. Do you see? What I said before is now coming true. Now, Thakur also, he made many predictions about uh, how his life would come to an end when this play, this Leela would end, and how it would come when he would start spending more and more time, spending nights in devotees' homes in Kolkata, and taking food from anybody and everybody and blessing the people, their respective thing. Maybe some other things, I'm not remembering, that when you see and taking this, what they call farina pudding, the suji payas at the end, not being able to eat anything else, that you'll know that this play is coming to an end. All of those things came true, exactly as he said. And he said, when more and more people start to know about me, and when I start to give everything away, he gave this beautiful analogy. I love this analogy. Uh, there's a certain type of bazaar that maybe they'll have once a week that people will come. You see this in other countries, Bedouin bazaars and things. And I saw it in Afghanistan, that once a week people will come from long distance. They'll bring all of their wares. They'll set everything up. And in the beginning, they'll bargain for every little sale, try to get as much money. And as the day goes along, and towards the end of the day, they'll give things away at a good price because they don't want to have to carry everything back. And then finally, before they close up shop, they'll give everything away for free. So Thakur saying, when I start to give everything, my spiritual treasures like that to anybody and everybody, know that this heart javi, that this whole show will come to an end at that point. So now he's asking him, because this is it's March, almost March 1885. So April, May, June, July. So less than a year and a half left in his life. So do you notice any changes in me? M. In what respect, sir, master? In my activities. M. Your activities are increasing as more people come to know about you. Master, do you see? What I said before is now coming true. After a few moments, he said, can you tell me why Paltu can't meditate well? Another one of the young boys. Sri Ramakrishna was ready to leave for Dakshineshwar. He had remarked to a devotee about Girish. Now it goes back to that garlic thing. You may wash 1,000 times a cup that has held a solution of garlic, but is it ever possible to get rid of the smell altogether? So it got back to Girish. Girish was offended by this remark. Yeah, not, huh? Narendra told him. Yeah. Girish was offended by this remark. When the master was about to leave, Girish spoke. Girish, will the smell of garlic go? Master, yes, it will. So now he's changing his tune a little bit. Of course, Girish, he became also a very saintly person. Girish, so you say it will. Master, all smell disappears when a blazing fire is lighted. If you heat the cup smelling of garlic, you can get rid of the smell. It becomes a new cup. The man who says he will not succeed will never succeed. He who feels he is liberated is indeed liberated, and he who feels he is bound verily remains bound. A very famous verse from this Ashtavakra Samhita. He who forcefully says, I am free, is certainly free, and he who says day and night, I am bound, is certainly bound. So we come to the end of this chapter. We'll begin next time on page 707, the Master and Narendra. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukham Bhathuradavikraham Yeshavataram Parameshamedham Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namah. We bow our heads before Sri Ramakrishna, who is stainless, of infinite nature, whose heart melts in sympathy for his devotees, who is an embodiment of the divine and the Supreme Lord, and ever worthy of our worship. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Okay, thank you, everyone. Next Friday, I will be on my way to San Francisco. So we won't have any class next Friday night. Okay.
Swamiji, is Budsaranandaji coming here too?
Yes, only for